this is my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so this is the final part to Dio's world, and is the third episode overall. It's not the end of the fight against Dio, but it is the final chapter again with Dio stand and how it works. So Dio and Jotaro are still aura rushing as they were back in the previous episode, to the point where they are now floating, and eventually Dio decides to stop toying with Jotaro and decides to stop time and finish him off that way. And sure enough, yeah, it's set up where Jotaro is about to die. Dio stops time, he closes in on Jotaro and prepares to go in for the final attack, and then Jotaro's fingers twitch. And Dio notably backs off after seeing that because according to him, that should be impossible. But if there's one thing about JoJo's is that it's just bizarre and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, Jotaro is implied to be able to stop time. Not on a level of Dio, but at least enough that he's aware while time is stopped. So Dio notably realizes that his stand and Jotaro's stand are the same, and realizes that someone has actually invaded his world to stop time, as he would put it. So after time resumes, he asks Jotaro if Jotaro could see him, and Jotaro denies that he was aware anything was going on, and the two continue their fight, with Dio chasing after Jotaro while Dio explains to himself and to Jotaro how he first discovered his ability to stop time. So apparently, and this is just an idea that Enya had, but apparently Dio first discovered that he could stop time when Nukasaku and Enya decided to do a field test with a shotgun. So basically what they did was Enya had Nukasaku point a shotgun at Dio and open fire. And Dio used his power to stop time at that exact moment and saved himself from getting shot. After which Enya praised his ability to stop time and pointed out that he needed to actually believe it was just an extension of his body if he wanted it to fully work. So sure enough, he started practicing with that, and now he's gotten to the point where he can stop time for 5 seconds. Apparently that was just a thing that Enya decided to do to test to see how Dio's stand worked. And sure enough, she wound up being right, and he wound up being able to stop time. Although, imagine an alternate universe where he hadn't and he actually got shot because of what happens. That could have been a little bit disastrous. But in any case, Dio points out that he realized that he's able to stop time and wants to see just how much Jotaro can actually move and stop time. And sure enough, stops time again near Jotaro to see how long exactly Jotaro can stop time. So with that, he begins to run some experiments to see exactly how much Jotaro is able to stop time for. So, and sure enough, Jotaro's fingers start twitching again, and believes that Jotaro can actually see him. But then he discovers that Jotaro had actually slipped a magnet on Dio's person, clipped it to his to his arm wristlets, to actually make it seem like an illusion that he was actually being moved by the magnet, because he had affixed one to both himself and Dio. It made it look like his fingers were twitching. Dio immediately discovers this and discards the magnet and finally moves in for the kill again, pointing out that it only really delayed Jotaro's death a few more seconds. But then Jotaro is actually revealed to be able to stop time and punches Dio square in the stomach. It's not enough to kill him because it's a vampire, but it is enough to at least wound him quite significantly. And it's only for a brief period, but it does in fact work. And Jotaro even remarks that it's only for a moment, but he can in fact stop time. So yeah, Jotaro basically figured out he can stop time as well, and I would say it's kind of an ass pull, but it's really not, because it was kind of foreshadowed earlier in the series. But yeah, he can stop time now. This is just a thing that happens in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He gained the ability to stop time. But in any case, he and Dio begin to face off again. Dio having lost his leg after crashing through a windowsill and having the lady put it back on shortly before killing her, and then sure enough drains her blood to actually give him his strength back. And sure enough, he confronts Jotaro with the new power. He realizes that he quickly realizes that Jotaro can most likely only stop time for a moment, and wants to test to see how long Jotaro can actually stop time for, and more thoroughly this time. So he decides to go with a very more vicious route of what he did to Joseph. He pulls a lot of knives out and throws a whole bunch of them at Jotaro. And while Star Platinum is able to deflect a couple of them, both in and out of stop time, Jotaro still gets hit with quite a few of them and winds up going down and hitting the floor. So Jotaro just kind of crashes in an alley and is presumed dead. But as it turns out, he actually prepared ahead of time and stuffed his uniform full of magazines, so that way he would be able to survive getting hit in pretty much anywhere he got hit with a knife. So, yeah. And while he is definitely hurt, he's not going to die. He's got a few puncture wounds here or there, but he's mostly fine. So in any case, Dio quickly suspects that Jotaro is playing dead, and which he is, and closes in for the kill, using a street sign to actually finish the job. However, as Dio is closing in to actually kill Jotaro, Polnareff comes out of nowhere and stabs Dio in the brain. So it's not enough to kill him, and Dio is able to stop time and easily free himself from Silver Chariot's rapier, and then proceeds to knock Polnareff aside while still in stop time. But it is enough to, at the very least, distract Dio long enough for Jotaro to come up with a plan to actually get in close enough to actually defeat Dio. So yeah, while Polnareff is keeping Dio distracted, Jotaro eventually comes up with an idea. Jotaro is pretending to play dead at this point. So what he does is to get Dio's attention, he wiggles his fingers just a little bit, just enough to get Dio's attention, and Dio decides to close in and investigate. And sure enough, he performs 2 sets of investigations. The first happened by complete chance, because at this point, a lot of people have seen the fight between Jotaro and Dio, and Jotaro is kind of playing dead at this point. So naturally, the police come over to arrest Dio for murder. Dio naturally doesn't actually resist arrest, and even kills one of the cops and forces the other, using his vampire powers, to shoot Jotaro, and Jotaro catches the bullet using Star Platinum. But Dio is still skeptical, because while Jotaro did get shot, he's still concerned about the fact that maybe Jotaro's heart is beating. So Jotaro, I kid you not, uses his stand to actually stop his heart, which he openly admits to himself is very dangerous, and he probably shouldn't do it that often. But it does enable him to stop it. But he is able to stop and restart his heart long enough to distract Dio, so that Dio does not hear his heart beating. So with that, Dio surmises that Jotaro is most likely dead, but not risking any chances, decides to do what he was originally going to do and decapitate Jotaro with a signpost. So at this point, Dio is actually closing in, and then realizes too late that Jotaro had tricked him, and gets punched right in the face as he's trying to stop time, and is sent flying. And now, because his head is actually injured, which Jotaro openly remarks is most likely the only way he was ever going to be able to kill him, Dio is unable to actually escape. So Dio tries to escape, but Jotaro immediately closes in on him and proceeds to cover him in gasoline so we can set him on fire. However, Dio actually wasn't planning to go down that easily, and instead uses his technique of being close to the ground. He actually uses his ears to listen for cars coming while being lying down on the ground, and in turn uses his stand's power to escape to a car in stop times long enough for him to actually get to a car and escape. So he's trying to make an escape route. However, Jotaro immediately catches up to him, using one of the knives embedded in his shoulders to actually deflate the tire on the car that Dio is clinging to, and then closes him with Star Platinum and finishes him off once and for all with a flurry of punches. However, this does not actually kill Dio, because as Dio is flying through the air, very much injured, he remarks to Jotaro that this was his plan all along, and asks him if this street looks familiar, and sure enough it is. It's the same exact street where Dio had stabbed Joseph an episode prior. And with that, Dio lands right next to Joseph and uses his blood to heal himself, and now the final battle truly begins. So, yeah, Basically, basically Dio used Joseph's blood to actually fully heal himself, and he actually takes on a new appearance from this point onward, which is a little bit interesting. So yeah, it's mostly the same as his original appearance, but slightly different. For example, the headband on his head is no longer there, but more or less it's the same guy. So, but in any case, now Dio is at full strength. He's finally healed off the neck wound on his neck, so now he's actually fully in control of Jonathan's body, which is problematic because that was his entire goal the whole time. His entire goal was to finally get enough blood to drink to actually heal the wound around his neck, so that way he has full control over Jonathan's body and has full access to his healing factor. So that's bad. But in any case, now Dio and Jotaro are on equal footing, I guess. Their stands are exactly the same, with slight differences in power. So yeah, I don't suspect that Jotaro will not be able to defeat Dio, but it does seem a little bit closer than it would appear, because now Dio has access to his full healing factor, and Jotaro is a normal human who doesn't have a healing factor. So it's a bit one-sided, but I'm assuming it is eventually going to end with Jotaro defeating Dio, and then because they have to move on to part 4. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon if you want to help support the show. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks out of my way saying thanks. So be sure to check this out in the description below as well. In any case, thank you guys so much for watching. As next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!